I cannot sleep. It's 5 a.m. Something has woken me up. Maybe a sound from the apartment above. Well, anyways, whichever way I toss and turn, I can't go back to sleep. I finally decide to go for a morning walk. Believe me, 5:30 in the morning is early for me. I tend to laze and snooze till 8 in the morning usually. No more children to see off to school in the mornings. Rabia, Zara and Amir are in universities now. Sadiq depends on our helper Elsa for his morning tea and breakfast. Moreover, life has suddenly taken on a slower pace now. Welcome to the post-COVID world. I, for one, am not complaining. Actually, I've begun to like this slower pace. Maybe I'm a home bird of sorts. No more running around in circles the whole day for things that can be managed online conveniently from home. From meetings to grocery shopping and even beauty requirements, all are happening in whichever way manageable. To the point, I even gave myself a haircut this March during the circuit breaker. Off I go, thankful that the beach is no longer off limits. Phase 2 is welcome.
Here I go out to sea again. The sunshine fills my head, and dreams hanging.
Thankful too for the lesser morning traffic along the East Coast Parkway, which can get pretty noisy. It can be heard clearly from my apartment facing the sea and the road. I walk onto the turf of grass. The grass had recently grown more freely, but now it looks trimmed again. The landscaping staff must be back. The COVID situation in the worker dormitories has gotten better. As I look above at the canopy of the rainforest trees, I think how nice it is that trees and foliage are allowed to grow more naturally here in Singapore. Gives me a feeling that we really do live along patches of tropical forests, in spite of living in one of the most modern metropolitan cities of the world. A sudden flashback. I remember the neatly lined trees in Toronto where I lived before Singapore. Everything had looked trimmed and pruned out there in the residential areas. I prefer this natural look. I'm always amazed at how Singapore, with its much smaller territory, can manage to keep nature's balance with its concrete needs. Many natural tropical woodlands everywhere. I walk on the grass, cutting across towards the beach, from behind where the boats are parked. This casuarina tree grove is my favorite patch along the beach. I look around and snap a few pictures on my mobile of overgrown grass, fallen twigs and leaves, and the many pigeons who have found a place to roost here. I tell myself that I need to sketch these in my art journal soon enough. These tall casuarinas momentarily remind me of another time, another place. Oman, Muscat. We are picnicking under casuarina trees. I'm doing somersaults with my younger sister, while my parents are sitting on a picnic mat watching us and laughing at our antics. I suddenly realize they look much younger than I am. They seem to be in their late 30s, and I'm in my 50s now. I finally caught up with them in age, I think, and smile. I look around and can see some usual visitors. There's that person who always parks his bike and does Tai Chi. I remind myself that I want to learn Tai Chi as well, amongst other things. I've learned a lot through workshops, art, printing, creative writing, and even a touch of theater. Workshops and continuing education have really helped reveal more of myself in layers. Singapore has been good to me. It has been easy accessing learning here. I'm thankful. In India, while growing up, it was mostly only academics. According to my father's wishes, one could only specialize in the pure sciences and only aim to become either an engineer or a doctor. Though he too had to change his perspective later. I thought back and smiled. I'd broken that family rule by diving into earth and social sciences, geography. Yes, I did love studying about the earth and all that it had. My father had not spoken to me for almost a whole year after I dropped pure sciences. How sad was that? By contrast, Rabia, my oldest child, has just completed her master's in dramatic writing at university in the United States. And we had not stopped her from following her interests. Yes, that was a good decision. A person will always continue to search for one's passion. I realize sometimes that I'm still searching. 50s is a bit late, I know, but then one has only one life. I found art, but I think there's more. I think of the years that have gone by living in different places. I realize looking around that perhaps it is the most common things that tie me down, that ground me. The same grass, the same trees, the same beaches, the same waves. As I stand on the beach and look over at the many ships lining up the Straits of Singapore, and then at the gentle incoming waves, something takes me back to many years ago. I'm looking at another sea on another beach, the Arabian Sea. We are in Goa, India, and no kids. We are newly married, and Sadiq is lazing on the beach. I can see him watching me jump over each incoming wave. He probably thinks it's childish. Well, I will till I can, I had decided. And moreover, it's fun jumping over waves. The sea could bring out the child in people irrespective of age. The beach walker, collecting shells and pebbles, that's me. As I look down at what little gifts the waves have brought in today, I gather a few pebbles and walk up the short, smooth slope and head towards my perfect spot. I sit down on a restful bench made from a tree trunk under the shade of an almond tree. Looking up, I see how wide its canopy spreads, and on the ground, I can see many fallen seeds. I pick up a seed from the ground, wondering if I could plant it in a pot in my balcony and whether an almond tree would grow from it. I'm transported by my memories back to New Delhi, under a similar canopy of a big almond tree that grew outside the gates of our colonial government bungalow. I'm perhaps 5 years old, and I'm trying to pry open what I think is an almond with a stone. It takes me quite a few blows to open the hard net shell, and I wonder if I can eat the almond-looking thing inside. It tastes bitter, and I throw it. I suddenly remember my mother's warnings not to eat any unknown wild fruits. I remember to keep it a secret, wondering if she would get upset if I told her I'd tasted it. Was it a fruit or a seed? I wonder. What if I'd eaten it and a tree grew inside my stomach? Crosses my mind. A visiting uncle had said something of the sort. I almost believed that and was horrified. The very thought and possibility of tree branches shooting out from my little body had brought on a summer stomachache. If someone eats seeds, will trees grow inside their stomach, Papa? I'd asked my father, very concerned, and wondered why he smiled at me gently. Sitting down, I take out my sketchbook and start sketching the grass amongst the sand. If there's hope, I reflect, it's in this grass that can grow in the seemingly infertile sand. I remember the soft sands of Oman, where nothing much grew other than shrubs. How had they managed water for their many oases and green cover? Oman must have changed by now. They used to desalinate water for drinking purposes in the 1970s. It was an expensive treatment, and it still is. I must visit Muscat one day, I decide, as I close my sketchbook and get up to walk along the waves. I look out at the vast body of seawater surrounding me. Singapore has some reservoirs, but also has to manage water treaties with neighboring Malaysia, I remember the visit to Newater with my parents when they had visited here from India. My father was so very impressed. I realize Singapore will always find a way because it has a will to find solutions and it puts in the effort. Yes, there must always be a will to find solutions to important questions and a stronger will to put in the effort. I must remember to tell my children that these are probably the two most important things in life for whatever they seek. I wonder now if I did my best, myself, and as a mother. Walking back the same path under the canopy of casuarinas, I feel like a wanderer, and I'm suddenly grateful for the 10 years of stay in Singapore. I have never lived in any place as long as this. Moving has been constant, from India to Oman, to Japan, Indonesia, to Philippines, to Canada, and now Singapore. It's been a long ride with many twists and turns. Packing, unpacking, settling, unsettling. I wonder what we got out of the constant moving. Maybe our experiences, maybe some enriching glimpses of the world. As I enter my apartment block, I feel at home. Why do I feel at home here? And what will I feel when I leave Singapore? I will miss these huge rainforests and casuarina trees, the beach, and looking out at the sea to the islands of Indonesia, Sentosa, Batam from my balcony for sure, but also the many experiences and memories I have made here. In a flash, lots of things come to mind. Children's school graduations, good friendships, our house here, NAFA and LASET classes, friends from the many art and interest groups. Today, I will join the Arts House workshop again this morning with strangers who have become familiar in just a few meetings on Zoom. This experience too will become a memory. I know that I shall take small fractions of memories of Singapore, the many friendly faces of people that I've met here, the names of whom many I cannot and will not remember. I do always forget names. And I think how odd that Jeffrey should ask us to write a monologue on names. Sometimes the most important stories do build around names. I think about from all the accounts we've shared till now, some funny and some sober, that life seems to be somewhere in between. There is some time left for the workshop to start. I take my cup of tea and sit on the couch by the balcony and look out at the sea, the ships, and the undulating shapes of faraway islands. Life, with all its ups and downs, has been worth the many experiences. I'm grateful. It has been a wonderful life.
No need to want and hide. It's a wonderful, wonderful life.